Let's say we want to create to-do application that will work with Postgres database and is going to be hosted as a container, Linux container. And our development environment will be the Visual Studio. We are going to create a .NET Core web API application to manage the to-do items CRUD operations. And we are going to have a unit test, and we are going to have Postgres SQL or installed on Docker Compose as well as the web application. Each of them will be a separate container and they will connect through the Docker Compose networking. And we are going to have CI/CD of Git operations that is going to automatically run our unit tests and deploy our application to container instances. So let's have a look at the Visual Studio web project, web API, .NET Core project with unit tests, and it has environmental variables that making it work with Docker Desktop, having two containers, one for PostgreSQL and the other for the web API application. And we can have a look at the dev environment. That's our project running on uh, Docker Compose and debugger, and we have unit tests that run successfully, and our small application. On Docker desktop, we can see our Docker Compose containers, one for the Postgres database, and the other with our web API application for Todo. And they are working together, as we can see. Refresh this. We have the Todo controller with four basic root operations. So let's see how it's working with the CI/CD. We have GitHub Actions and workflows that is kicked by the changes in the repository to deploy our application to different environments. After replacing the variables, first it builds the application and it runs the unit tests. And when the unit tests are successful, it's going to replace the environment variable to connect to another database and other settings, of course. And then it's going to create a new Docker image with a new tag. And this image is going to be pushed after that to container registry. In this case, it's Azure. And after push to the container registry, it's going to deploy our application to the environment as a container instance. In this case, it's Azure. So let's see how this is working. Let's say I'm going to add a new endpoint to our controller, to the controller, and we are going to see how this reflects on the deployments and containers. Well, our change has kicked the first workflow for the .NET Core to build and to run the unit tests. After this, another workflow will run to make the images and the deployment. Now our workflows seems to be working correctly, and what's expected now is that we should have a new uh, image created for this repository, and that's a new version, a new image for the application, and it's supposed to be deployed. And this is a deployment on Azure Container Instance. And if we check here, we can see that the todo controller got the new endpoint test get deployed automatically using GitHub Actions. Thank you.